Okay, Kitvach. And next year, Bez Hashem, Sheh should be in Yerushalayim. We're in the sugya of Kamlei b'derab minei. We saw in our Mishnah just a few ideas. The Mishnah clearly stated that a chayiv karis would not say Kamlei, even though being with your sister would carry you with the chayiv karis. If you're honest, your sister, nonetheless, you'd pay to your father. You pay him the chamishim kesef, and we don't say Kamlei b'derab minei. We said that was opposed to the shita of Rabbi Nechunyi ben Akana, who says by chayiv karis you would say Kamlei b'derab minei. We look for the source for Rabbi Nechunyi ben Akana, and now we're dealing with the last case of the Mishnah, the din of chayiv what of chayiv karis. Now it's mashma from the Mishnah that when you have a chayiv of karis and a chayiv of money, right, that we don't say kamlei and you be chayiv both. What happens if you warn your sister? You warn somebody warns you, Adam warn you. They say it that you're honest your sister, you're going to be chayiv, you're going to be over on a nisser. So in addition to karis, you get malchus. So you have a scenario over here where you have malchus and money. So let's deal with that. It says that we're up to Daf Lamed Aleph Amid Beis. We are 3 lines from the bottom. Our Mishnah says that you pay. These are ones who get malchus. Someone's with his sister. These are all chayiv karis, guys. And the chiddush is of this Mishnah is in addition, in lieu of karis, which you don't get in this world, you would get malchus, which is in this world. All these are the same chayiv karis that we mentioned in our Mishnah, and we said in all these cases you're going to get malchus. The kaimelon amid aleph the eino laiku mishalem, that you will not get malchus and pay. So we have a stira. Our Mishnah says, despite the fact you're getting malchus, you're paying. The Mishnah in malchus says you get malchus, right? You get malchus and you don't pay. So do you pay for achoso or not? So Ama'ula, like Kasha, I have a way of answering the contradiction from the Mishnah in Makis to our Mishnah here in Kesuvos. Kan ba'achos naroi, achosoi nara, where there is kenas, then you'll pay. Kan ba'achos b'geres, and the Mishnah in Makis is describing what your sister that is 12 and 6 months. When we introduced the sugya to the perek, we introduced the parsha of Anusa, and we said one of the components for having the chiyuv is she has to be a besula and she has to be a naira. She has to be a naira. If she's not a naira, elu naira kanas, she has to be a naira. Right? We said the Mishnah is not like the Chachamim who say even a katana would have kanas, only like Reb Meir. So everyone would agree, but a Bogeris doesn't have kanas. So very good. Our Mishnah that says that what is speaking about a naira. The Mishnah in Makis that says you get malchus, that's speaking about a Bogeris. Because of Bogeris, there's no money. There's no money. Now, the Mishnah did not say that you don't get malchus in our Mishnah. It didn't say that. It said that you pay money. So it's mashma, you have money and malchus. So which one, why don't you, you're only going to pay money, not malchus. And the Gemara, a lot of the daf that we're going to get into now is, when you have both money and malchus, do you get both? Do you get neither? No, never neither. Do you get both? Or do you get one? And if you get one, which one? Which one do you get? Does money take preeminence, or does malchus take preeminence? So clearly, Ula must be of the opinion that money takes preeminence, because in our Mishnah he's saying if you're ma'anis your sister, despite the fact there's malchus by achoisoi, you're paying, which the Gemara makes the diak right away. Ama Ula like kasha kama achoisoi naira kama achoisoi. Now says the Gemara. Third Gemara kasha. Before we get to that, I went too quick. 1 second. Even if you're speaking about Bageres and there's no kanas, there's still a monetary chiyuv, such as ha'ika boishes upegam. There's the busha involved with the act that she was an anusa, and then there's the pegam that she's worth less to be sold in the slave market. So therefore, how can you tell me that there it's get malchus l'chayra, you still have the same problem. You have in both cases, you have money and malchus. In our Mishnah, you're getting money, and over there, you're getting malchus, despite the fact that what? There's a monetary chiyuv. We thought we'd escape the kasha by saying there's no money there because she's a boigeres, and the Gemara is answering, you're right. There isn't money for kanas, but there is money for baishas upagam. There's guys in monetary chiyuv, we find two basically. One is a tashlum and one is a kanas. The Gemara in Baba Kama, Rashi in Daf Hey tells us a kanas is anytime you're paying more or a set amount. If it's a set amount or more, it's a kanas. So anus is a set amount. You're paying 50. Mighty shemer is 100, right? You're paying 100. So anytime shleishim shel eved, you kill your eved, pay shleishim. In other words, there's a set amount. If there's not by shleishing an eved, whoring an axe cause an eved. If there's a set amount, it's a kanas. So what did you answer? There's no kanas. It's a good. There's no kanas, but there's another chiyuv. There's another chiyuv, a monetary chiyuv. Boishas and pagam, the embarrassment that your sister Boigeres undergoes, and the pagam that she undergoes, right? So therefore, you should have to pay money for that to be consistent. So now you have the hachu kasha l'duchte, the kasha comes back. Over here in our Mishnah, where there's a monetary chiyuv and a malchus, you're getting money, and over there where there's a monetary chiyuv, pagam and boishes, you are not getting a monetary. You're not paying it. You're getting malchus.
So 1 hour time for the peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler timer, 1 hour, starting in.
They're coming out with a new Zoom device to able to go ahead and identify the guilty party. That's the Gemara. Okay, says the Gemara, b'shaita. You know, it's speaking of boigeres shaita. So now, if there's a shaita, there's no busha, and there's no pagam. Fed the Gemara v'ikot saira. There's the tsar of the onus. Again, as we're going to see, there's chamesh devarim. There's 5 things to pay. Nesek tzari pushevus l'boishes. So l'chayra, there's the tsar of the actual physical abuse. So l'chayra, there's a monetary chiyuv. That has nothing to do with her mental capacity, because tsar is tsar. So therefore, back to the original question, if you're going to say you get malchus and not pay the tsar, it's a question on our Mishnah. And if the Gemara b'mafuta, it's speaking where it wasn't in a case of anusa, it was a case of seduction where you went ahead and you talked her into it. So now, there's no baisha supagam because she's a shaita, and there's no tsar because she's a mafuta. All there is malchus. So we're saying it's a kimta. So it comes out, guys, listen, we're giving you terrors. We have a stira. Our Mishnah says you get money terechi if you minus a naira. The Mishnah there, your sister. The Mishnah over there says you're with your sister, you get malchus. It doesn't say how you boil a chayslay. It just says you had relations with your sister. It doesn't say how. The havamina was anusa, and therefore we had a problem. Says the Gemara, no, it's not speaking. It's not speaking about a naira. Speaking about a boigeres. Read the Gemara. Afal pikein, there's still a monetary chiyuv. There's baishus upagam. No, it's a shaita. There's no baishus upagam. I just tsar. Oh, guess what? It's not speaking. Habala chaysay in mesech the makis is speaking about mefuta. It's not speaking about anusa. So our Mishnah is speaking about anusa naira, and that's speaking about what? That's the Mishnah there is speaking about what a mefuta of a boigeres. Says the word hashta dasus lahachi. Now that you're coming and dealing with what saying that's an ukimta, meaning it's a very specific case. Afilu tema chaysay naira. We can make it more consistent. The Mishnah in Malchus is also speaking about a naira. If there's a naira, isn't there a kanas? Isn't there the 50? Says Gemara, be yisoima. It's speaking what? Where there is yisoima and umafuta. So it's speaking, she is a mafuta. So therefore there is no what? There's no tsar. And she's a yisoima where all the money, the pagam and boishes would go to her. So Mimela, very good. What do you have left? You have malchus. If you mafata a naira, right, who is a yisoima, you would get malchus. But it's more consistent. It's also an ukimta. It's also a specific case, but it's a little more in line with our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is speaking about a chosinaroi. That's also speaking about a chosinaroi. We get rid of the pagam and we get rid of the pagam and boishes by saying that she gets the money, and we get rid of the tsar because it's mafuta. Good, guys. Good. So we answered up the stira. Now, let's go back to my issue. When in our Mishnah, you had two chiyuvim. Malchus because it's your sister. And because again, any chiyuv kares in this world, you're going to get Malchus. And secondly, you're saying you're getting paid. But our Mishnah didn't say you get Malchus, it says you get paid. Al Mekasava Ula, Kol Heicha de Ika Mominu Malchus, anytime you have a situation of Mominu Malchus, Mimoina Mishalim, Milkaloi Lucky. You're going to pay and you're not going to get Malchus. You're going to pay and not going to get Malchus. Rashi brings a very interesting, let's see Rashi over here. Kesuvos Ula, the Uki Masnisan, where he says the Mishnah in Malchus is speaking the Malchus Bibageres, and he did not say I'm Mishnah speaking where you didn't give Hasra. In other words, there was a very easy way to get out. Guys, look at me. There was a very easy way to get out of this issue without ukimtos or anything. Watch this. Someone was with a sister and you gave Hasra, and it's speaking about a Naira. Our Mishnah is also speaking about a Naira, but you didn't give Hasra. So since there was no Hasra, there was no Malchus. Okay? That would have been the easiest way to get out. Why didn't Ula take that route? Because Ula held, even if you gave Hasra and there be a chiyuv of Malchus, you'd still pay and not get the Malchus. Again, the easiest way out to go ahead and answer up the stira would be, in Masechta Malchus, speaking with the Hasra. Hasra for Karis carries a penalty of Malchus. Our Mishnah is speaking where there was no Hasra, therefore no Malchus. Great. Why didn't you give that teretz? Because Ula said that teretz wouldn't answer the kasha. Because even if you gave Hasra, you still would not give Malchus. You know why? Because you're paying Kanas. So we see that Malchus is more, money takes preeminence over Malchus. It's a alum de shadia, guys. When you could have given that answer and you didn't, obviously that answer wouldn't suffice. It wouldn't suffice to answer the stira. Then Mela, we know that he holds Momin Mishalei Milkaloi Lucky. That's the very important Rashi. Now, where does he know that from? Where does he know that from? Where does Ula know that from? Where does Ula know that in? And for the Gemara, who gama make chayvul chaveroi? Guys, in the 8th parak in Masechta Baba Kama deals with hachayvul b'chaveroi. If someone goes ahead and damages his friend, in most situations, he's going to pay 5 things: nezek, the damage done to him; sar, ripui, the doctor bills; sheves, the disability that he's not working; and baishas. 5 chiyuvim. We don't have to get into how they compute that. There's 5 chiyuvim. Okay. Now, so l'chayra also, guys, when you hit your friend, you were over on an isser of lo yosef pen yosef. It's machlokes we showing him what the lav is, but either way, it's a lav. Any lav that has a maisa, right, is chayiv malchus. So when you hit your friend, there were 2 chiyuvim. One, the chiyuvim of the 5 payments, maybe all 5, or in addition, malchus. And what do? You pay. So what do you see? Any place where you pay and you have malchus, you're going to go ahead and get the malchus, get paid. Just like you have money in malchus, mishalim, excuse me, malchus, comma, so to every place, so you can learn out loud from a just excuse me. Anyway, so guys, geschmack. So again, we have a situation of chayvul b'chaveroi. If you hit your friend, it creates 2 chiyuvim, one of malchus, one of money, and you're going to go ahead and pay in that malchus. So Ula says that should be a suas, we'll call it harakula. Anytime in conjunction, you have a chi of money, a chi of malchus, such as by a nusa, you're going to go ahead and pay and not get malchus. The Gemara asks, Mal chayvul b'chaveroi shekein chayiv b'chamisha devarim. Right? It's chayiv for 5 things. Now, guys, the next piece of Gemara, let's go. What's the Havamina right now is, guys, the Havamina of the Gemara right now is money is more chomer than malchus. Money is more chomer than malchus. Good? That's the Havamina of the Gemara. That money is more chomer than malchus. Read the Gemara. If that's the case, that money is more chomer than malchus, maybe I only pay money when it has the chumrah of 5 payments. But when the payment is only anusa, right? Maybe then malchus would be more and take precedence. In other words, what's the? You can't learn from chayvul. maybe since money is mochamer, maybe the only time we apply that is only when you have a chumrah of chamesh devarim. By a nusa, you don't have the chumrah of chamesh devarim, so maybe you would not go ahead and pay that. Maybe you get malchus. Now, the next piece of Gemara, watch the next line. The and if you're going to say that what? Memoina lekula, if you're going to say money is more mako. So let's go ahead and look at the other guys. It's a look at me. You have to look at me. And if you're going to say the opposite, guys, there's no way in Mitzias that payment is more choma than getting lashed 39 times. So therefore, you're going to say mammon is more mako. So now, if money is more mako, then of course there should be a good source. Watch. Madach, where it has a chumrah of 5 things, you still give the kula of money, versus malchus, in a place where you don't have the chumrah of the 5 things, of course you should pay. One more time. We want to bring a source for where you have mammon and malchus that you pay. We want to say achayvul b'chaveroi. That what? Since chayvul b'chaveroi has that chumrah and money is more chomer, so since money is more chomer, you'll pay. Now you'll ask, maybe by chayvul, the only reason it's you pay, you get the more chomer dika mammon is because of 5 devarim. So therefore you can't use it as a limud. Says the Gemara, no, I still could use it as a limud. Watch. You know how I could use it as a limud? The following. Really, malchus is more chomer, and money is more kuladik. So what do we see? In a place where you have such a chumrah that you're paying 5 different payments, nonetheless, you go kula rather than chumrah, you get money rather than malchus. In a place where things are easier, where you don't have the 5 things, kal v'chomer, you should only get money. So l'chayra, our limud is back on the table. When you have money and malchus, you're going to have chayiv money. Says the Gemara, well, one second. Shekein hutra mechlaloi. Chayvul b'chaveru has a kula. You know why you pay money? Because we find a place in the Torah that being chayvul is mutter. Bezdin is able to administer malchus. Bezdin is able to hit somebody. That's a kula. We never find any other. Yeah. So since we have the kula that Bezdin is able to administer malchus, maybe that's why you pay money. Masha Enkain, any place where you wouldn't have a heter, you would get malchus. So right now, a chayvul b'chaveru is not a good limud. If it's the chumrah and malchus and mammon is a chumrah, maybe that there the chumrah is because of the 5 things. And if you tell me malchus is more chumrah, and mammon is more kula, then maybe it's only more kula dik in this case because it's huchul l'chalai that Bezdin can go ahead and do it. So we're stuck. What's the source for ula that when you have in conjunction a chiyuv of money and a chiyuv of malchus, you get mammon rather than malchus? It says, Ella gomer mi edim zaymim. We can learn out from Eidim Zomimim. Again, there's a portion in the Torah of Eidim Zomimim that we spoke it out many times. Let's do it again. When 2 Eidim come and one guy says you owe you $100, another guy says you owe $100, you keep the money where it is. That's Eidus Mukcheshes, that's Eidus that's going ahead and weakening each other. Lashon V'Kachush. Where one people says that you lent money you lent him, you borrowed money $1,000 on Wednesday on August 7th, and 2 Eidim come and say, you with us in this place on August 7th. Then the halacha is that the Eidim are going to have to pay the one they wanted to make chayv $1,000, they have to pay. Whatever they plan to do against the family, do to them. Eidim Zoymim, when you have a chiyuv of money and a chiyuv of malchus, you're going to pay money. So let's use Eidim Zoymim as a source for that halacha. My Eidim Zoymim, the Gemara asks how you know that. My Eidim Zoymim, Dika Mammon or Malchus, when you have conjunction, a chiyuv of money, a chiyuv of malchus, the money mishalem, that chiyuv would be the same case I told you. You owe $200 and you don't. So the chiyuv money is clearly from Kach Zamam. The chiyuv malchus is leisana briachet shoka. You shouldn't lie against your friend. It's a lav, right? It's a lav. Good. I alav shem b'maisa gemara and we'll see Bez Hashem in Baba Kama. Dikamam malchus the money mishalem milkalei lucky. Afkal hecha dikamam mishalem milkalei lucky. So now we have a source. Eidim Zayim will be a proper source for this halacha. That what? That when you have a mammon, a malchus, you get mammon. Now we'll ask the same question. They have a chumrah. You know why they pay the more chomedik payment of mammon? Again, the same havamina that money is more chomed than malchus. You know why we're machmir by them? They don't need asra. Eidim Zayim do not need asra to warn them not to be Eidim Zayim. That's enough. And that's why you get the Muhammad de Malkus. Mashen can any place else where you don't have the Churma not. The Imamaina Lakula, if you can say Malkus is Muhammad, and therefore we have a Kal B'Chomer, Madachedim, which has the Chumrah of not in the Asra. Nonetheless, you get off easier. So too in a place where you don't have the Chumrah, you get off easier. So you would have a source for Ulas Din. You'll say no. There you have a Kula, Shekain Layasa Maisa. Maybe the reason the Eidim Zoimimim only pay money is because they didn't do an action. They only did a deeper. So we have two halachas, two sources, guys, both inadequate alone. We have Chayvel B'Chaveru being inadequate, and we have Eidim Zoimim being inadequate. Chayvel has a Chumrah, the 5 Devarim. Eidim Zoimim has a Chumrah that it's you don't need Asra. Chayvel has a Chumrah. Chayvel has a Chumrah that's Hushum Mechlala and Bezdin, that Bezdins are permitted. And Eidim Zoimim has a Kula it's a deeper, not a Maisa. So says the Gemara, you failed to learn out a Memetzinu, one from the other. Let's go make a combo. Says the Gemara. So let's learn out this din of Mammon, Mishale, and Milko Leilaki from a combination of the two. What's the tzad shava between Chayvel B'Chavero and Eidim Zoimim? The Ikka Mammon and Malkus. You have both a chi of money and a chi of Malkus. Mammon, Mishale, and Milko Leilaki. Avkal Heicha, Ikka Mammon and Malkus. Mammon, Mishale, and Milko Leilaki. So let's have a source. Now you'll ask, Malat tzad shava she'en shekain yesh behem tzad chomer. They have it tzad chomer. What's the tzad chomer? You chayv 5 devarim, and you don't need asra. Good. Yes. The imamam and the kula, and if mami is the kula, who shekain yesh behem tzad hakal. You'll say they have it tzad hakal. That one's a maisa and one is huchul lebezdin. There's a bottom taisus here. I can't spend a lot of time on it, guys. Just a basic question. Any tzad hashav in the Torah, you could always ask the question. They have a tzad chomer. So how could you ever use a gzeir shav in a tzad hashava? Basically, what I'm doing is the following: the most simplistic limud in the Torah is memetzinu. That's all we're doing over here. Just like you find chayvel b'chaverai, mam and mishal and milko elaki, so too all over. Just like you find eidim zoyim, mam and mishal and milko elaki, so too all over. Good, that's the memetzinu. We slugged it up with a kasha. So that's why we're doing. We take the memetzinu and we're learning from a combination of both, because each one doesn't have the chumrah kula of the other, right? The chumrah of eidim zoyim of not needing asra doesn't exist by chayvel b'chaveiro. You would need asra. And the chumrah of chayil b'chayra chamish devarim, you don't have eidim zayimim, right? So the chayra, let's learn out from both. So and for the Gemara, you can't learn out from both as a tzad chomer. Every single tzad hashav is going to have a tzad chomer. In kol Torah kula, you can always ask this question. So Tosfos answers that these are two very, very different tzad chomers. They're very, very stringent tzad chomers. It's the bottom Tosfos. You get a chance if you want to look at it. Look at it. Bottom line right now is we don't have a source for the limud. Amid base. So therefore, we fail to learn it out from the tzad hashava of Eidim Zoimim and Chayvel b'Chaveiroi. We're going to learn a gezeir shava. What do we know about a gezeir shava? If it's extra, there's no questions. If it's extra, sometimes it's one side, sometimes two-sided. Ela ula tachas gomar. Ula learns out this din of milka mamama mishal and milka leilaki. He learns it out from the commonality of the words tachas. Ksiv hacha. It says tachas asher ina. It says over here by the parsha of Anusa. It says you'll pay chamisha kesef tachas asher ina, because the fact that you were ma'anaha tachas asher ina, the fact that you were ma'anaha, and ksiv hacha. It says by chayvel b'chaveira. It says ayin tachas ayin, shein tachas shein, yod tachas yod. Very famous Gemara. So says the Gemara, ma chasam b'mayim mishal and milka leilaki. Just like we know by chayvel b'chaveira, ayin tachas ayin, you're going to get mom and malchus. Av kolecha dikam mom and malchus b'mayim mishal and milka leilaki. So you have to all of both these cases, mom and mishal and milka leilaki. Rabbi Yochanan Amar afilu tema achoisai naira. So now he's coming to answer the stira. Guys, we learned Ula. We had a stira in Mishnayos, right? And now we're going to answer. We answered it one way. Why do we answer? Either that the Mishnah there is speaking about either a shoita mafuta or a naira that's the yisoima and mafuta, right? That's what we answered. So now we're going to go ahead and give a different teretz, and this is the teretz that Ula avoided. Why over there are you getting Malchus, and why over here in our Mishnah you're paying money, not getting Malchus? Says Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Afilu Tema Choisei Naira. The Mishnah there in Malchus is also speaking about a Naira, the exact same case. Kanshe Hisru Boy, Kanshle Hisru Boy. Our Mishnah is speaking where you didn't get Asra. The Mishnah there in Malchus is speaking where you did get Asra. Since you got Asra for Issachar, you get Malchus, and over here you don't. Very easy teretz. No kimta. Same girl, exact same girl, different teretz. Ula didn't like this teretz because he said, what? Remember, he said you would still pay. You wouldn't get, even if you give Asra, that was a raya. Even if you give Asra, you're still paying. So guys, you see, like Rabbi Yochanan, what's the din? If you give Asra, you're going to get Malchus and not pay. Guys, look at me. Listen to what he's saying. Our Mishnah is speaking, the Mishnah there is speaking with Hasra. Our Mishnah is speaking without Hasra. And therefore you're paying. What's the inference? And if you would have had Hasra in our Mishnah, you wouldn't pay. So what do you see Rabbi Yochanan holds? When you have Momin and Malchus, you get the Malchus. He holds the opposite of Hula. He holds the opposite of Hula. Alma, says the Gemara, Ksav Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion, Kol Heicha, the Ikka, Momin and Malchus, anytime you have the Chi of a Momin and Malchus, the Asru Bey, and you get Asra, Milka Lucky, Mimanale Mishaling. Minole Rabbi Yochanan. So Ula, we got a source for guys. Tachas. He learns that Anusa from Ayin Tachas Ayin. Just like Ayin Tachas Ayin, you're going to go ahead. Momin Mishaling, Milka Lucky, so too, all over. Says the Gemara. Ha'amakra, the pasuk says in the Voram Chafei. What does the pasuk say? V'hoyim bin hakas a Rasha, and you give Malchus to the Rasha. V'pila shoy v'kiyah lefanav kidei risha aslay b'mispar aboy ma'kenon. Kidei risha aslay. It says according to what is rishis. Very famous limud. Mishum risha achas atam mechayvoy v'atam mechayvoy mishum shtei rishuyos. Kidei risha aslay. Only singular. He'll only get one and not the other. Which one is he getting? Malchus, not money. How do you know we get Malchus? Because what does the pasuk say right afterwards? It says, Aboyim yakenu la Yosef pen Yosef. Aboyim yakenu, you give him 40 Malchus. Kidei Rishasai, Aboyim yakena. When you have two chiyuvim, like this case, money and Malchus, you can get one of them. Which one? Aboyim yakena. He's going to get the Malchus. That's how Rabbi Yochanan knows. But when you have Momin, Malchus Mishalim, Mamis Mishalim, and Moinale Mishal. Malchus, you can get Malchus. Says the Gemara. Right now, we're going to ask on Rabbi Yochanan the limudim that Ula wanted. Guys, we're going to ask. We attempted right? We attempted Eidim Zaymimim. So if you Rabbi Yochanan hold, anytime there's a chiyuv of money and Malchus, you're going to go ahead and get Malchus. What about those two cases? Chayvul you're paying, and Eidim Zaymimim you're paying. What do you do with that? If you're learning Kedei Rishasai, then you should also get Malchus over there. The raya to Ula, the attempted raya to Ula, which we upslugged because of the Tzadashava restrictions of Nemetzinu, are now kashas on the limud of Rabbi Yochanan. Says Murav, Hani Chayvul B'Chaveru Dikum Imam and Malchus Mamoin Mishal and Milka Leilaki. What are you going to do with that? V'chitei Mahani Mili Heichad Le'Yosru Bei Avol Yosru Bei Milka Leilaki Mamoin Mishal. In other words, a simple answer. That's speaking. Hachayvul is we going to give Masra. The obvious question is what? If you hit a person and you do damage not worth a shava pruta, loika, you get malchus. Now, hechidan, what's exactly the case? If you didn't give masra at all, am I loika? So why are you getting malchus? If you didn't get masra, why are you getting malchus? Elapshita, it's pashit, the asrube that you gave masra. And nonetheless, you know why you're getting malchus? The time of the less Beishava Pruta. Highest Beishava Pruta, Mama Mishale, Milkalai Lucky. You're going to pay money even and not get Malchus. Okay? So Kasha, how can you, Rabbi Yochanan, tell me that Kedei Risha Asai and learn out that we have Mamin and Malchus? You're only going to get the Malchus, not the Mamin. You see from a Chayvel and a Raya that you're going to pay and not get Malchus. Says the Gemara, Kidei Rebbe Loi, the favorite ships of Torah, Eidim Zayimim L'Tashlumim, I got an answer. I have an answer. You're going to be over two Averis, you're only going to be responsible for one. Mom and Malchus, you're only going to get one of them. Which one? Aboy Meken, you can get the Malchus. You have cases over here where you're going to pay money in Malchus. That's a special limud. Guys, we began this parak. Why do we say? Remember, if you're ma'anis a woman, one, she has to be a naira, two, a basula, you have to marry her, and you have to stay married. Fred the Gemara, how then could you go ahead and live with your sister or a mamza? You can't marry them, right? So we had a teretz of Ula, and we had a teretz Lakish, and a teretz of someone else. We had Rish Lakish, I forgot Papa. Yeah, Naira, basula, right? In other words, we had a special limud to override the din. The din is she has to be your wife, but I have a special limud. So over here, the same thing. Really, the din is Malchus, not Mammon. I have a special din by Chayvul Bechavero and Eidim Zaymim that what? That you pay. So it's special limud for these two cases. These are Yotzim in a cloud. Now the question is, where did you see the special limud from Eidim Zaymim? And then you learned out Chayvul Bechavero. Says the Gemara, where do you learn Rabbi Loi's din by Eidim Zaymim? There's a special Furisha limud to teach me you get Mammon, not Malchus. Aha. We testify in an individual. We testify that what? That you chayiv to your friend. 200 zuz. Guys, how many chiyuvim? 2. Watch. You're going to get both. You're going to get Malchus and you're going to pay. Why? Maybe they Malchus, maybe they Tashlum. Says Remeya, there are 2 separate psukim. One, you're getting Malchus for Loisane, Priached Shaker, and you're getting Mammon because of Eidim Zayim, Kasha Zamam. Since they're different psukim, you can have 2 chiyuvim. The Chachamim, we pass like the Chachamim, Cholam Shalim in a Loika. Anyone who goes ahead and pays doesn't get Malchus. So why do you see the Chacham say? You pay and don't get Malchus. Why don't you go the opposite way? Say anyone who gets Malchus doesn't pay. So I'm Rebbe Loi, Beferish Rips the Torah, Eidim Zayim Tashlumin. Heichel Rips the Torah. Where is the Rebbe in the Torah? It says, Vasisaloi Kasha Zamam, last place Lachim. Now here's the pasuk in the Torah, guys. Here's the pasuk in the Torah. Vasisaloi Kasha Zamam, last place Lachim, Ubiata Ro Mikebecha. And the next pasuk says, V'isachas inecha nefesh b'nefesh, ayim ayin, shem b'shem, yad biyad, regel b'ragel. So 2 pasukim later it says, yad biyad. So what does that teach me? It says, Vasisaloi Kasha Zamam, last place Lachim, yad biyad, lamali. Once it's said, whatever you do to your friend, whatever you want to do to your friend, you do to him. It says yad biyad. Tell me what? Something that can be given over one hand to the next. What can be given over one hand to the next? My name is Mammon. So that's Mammon. So I have a special limud, yad biyad, to teach me, even though what? You chayiv a chi of money and Malchus, you're going to pay. Because it says Kasha Zamam, it says Yad Biyad is mashma, Dava Nitim Yad Biyad, but it's Mammon. So a special limud, even though all the Torah Kula, Malchus and Mammon, you get Malchus, by Eidim Zoyim you pay. Now, where's the special rips of Torah by Chayvul B'Chaveroi? Now, what does it say over here? A man puts a wound in his friend, like he did, you do to him. Now we know it doesn't mean that an eye for an eye. Now it said, what do you have to say? Ken Yunasalai? So it should be done to him. You already said before, Ken Yunasalai. Ken Yunasalai Lamali says Gemara. So Dava Sheyesh Mein Nesina. Ken Yunasain. What does Yunasain mean? Something that's in Nesina. My ninu Mammon. And what is it? That's money. Okay, so let's go over the Gemara. Let's just go review, and then we'll call it an evening. Okay, we have a stira in our Mishnah to a Mishnah in Malchus. Our Mishnah says, even though there's a chi of Malchus pashtus for being ma'anis your sister, it's of course it's chayve karis, and so too in this chi of anusa, Mishnah says you pay money. Read the Gemara in Malchus up Elohin alaykin abba lachaysai. So somebody who's with his sister. So we had an ukimta. Exactly what's it speaking about. The Mishnah there as is speaking about a naira, that's speaking about a geres, but geres have become mishpacha. So we ended up saying it's a kimta where she's a shaita or she's a mafuta, and or saying achosei naira and she's a yisaima and a mafuta. So if she had those components, she was a that you wouldn't have any chiyuv money, you would only have chiyuv malchus, and therefore that would answer the stira. The bottom line is, you saw that Ula said, when he answered it up this way, when he came up with this answer, and he didn't answer a much simplistic answer, he must hold that you don't get malchus and mammon, you only get mammon. Why? Because he could have said, I'm Mishnah speaking about there's no asra. Obviously, that wasn't a compelling answer, because he would have said that asra, you still will get, you still won't get malchus, even with asra, and that's a raya, that money. So now we look for a source of money. We thought maybe chaveroi, rejected. We thought Edom Zayrim, rejected. Ended up being Gzereshava tachas from chayvel b'chaveroi to anusa. Just like chayvel b'chaveroi is mom mishal mukolaki, so to tachas tachas. Any place in the Torah you can get one mouse. Okay, now we had Rabbi Yochanan disagreed. Rabbi Yochanan vehemently disagreed. He answered up the stira very easily. Mishnah speaking with Mishnah Malchus speaking where there was hasra. Mishnah speaking where there's no asra. The mele you see where there's no asra, therefore you pay money. Mashma, if there was hasra, you get malchus. So you see Rabbi Yochanan holds malchus and mammon, you get malchus, right? That was his source. Okay, where was the source of Rabbi Yochanan? It says Kedei Rishasai, and then it says Abar Miakena. Kedei Rishasai, according to one rishis, but not according to two. Which one? Abar Miakena, you get a 40. Read the Gemara on Rabbi Yochanan from Edom Zayim and Chayvel b'chaveroi. Over there, both is a chiyuv malchus and money, yet nonetheless you're paying money. Says the Gemara of the Torah with special limud, we have a waiver by these two that instead of malchus you get money. What was the waiver of Edom Zayim? It says kasha zomam, and it says yad b'yad. Tov anitem yad b'yad. Chayvel b'chaveroi, he says kenyi nasin loy. Any money that's given to him, the chiyuv malchus and money, you have a special halacha. Tell me you get what? You get the chiyuv of the money. Bez Hashem, tomorrow we'll be back in shul in the evening, 8:30, 8:15. I'll get the time out. It's going to be a little earlier because the time is getting back earlier. It'll be between 8:20 and 8:30, probably in that area. Have a great evening. I hope you will cover well.
Thanks.